What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Ben here at Galactic News Center. Today, going to be talking about how I think Star Wars Rebels is going to play out and how I think the show will come to an end. So, as all of us know, Rebels is set in the events between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. With that in mind, we know how the events unfold. We know that the rebellion survives and goes into a larger war with the Galactic Empire. But what about the characters that we've come to love in Star Wars Rebels? What's going to happen to the Rebels crew? And not only in the case of the Rebels, what about the Imperials that we've been introduced to in Star Wars Rebels that we know for a fact don't make an appearance in Episode 4? Now, there are several scenarios that I could see playing out with these characters, and I'll go through them and discuss which one seems most likely to me and how will eventually play out in the show. The first, and definitely most radical theory of the bunch is at the end of Star Wars Rebels, all the characters that we know go out in some glorious battle that comprises some massive series finale special. Now, there have been soap shows who have chosen to go this route, who have found themselves in similar situations as far as plot timelines go, that have chosen this grand ending, so to speak, where all of the protagonists go out in some major blow to the Empire and acts as the staging ground for the larger rebellion. While this theory is definitely possible, I don't think this is how Star Wars Rebels is going to play out, simply because it's Disney XD and there would have to be a pretty good amount of darkness in this episode to see the entire Rebel crew wiped out in one finale. We've seen that Rebels is dark enough to kill off individual characters at times, but to wipe out the whole crew in one episode would be kind of a stretch. This theory would definitely work for me in regard to more the ancillary rebels, like the Zebs and the Sabines. I could definitely see them slowly being picked off as the show progresses. And this leads into the theory that the rebels will slowly dwindle one by one, with main characters slowly being picked off by the Empire. But that still raises the issue on which rebels characters are most important to the show and how they're going to be eventually written off toward the end of the show. Now, the final theory, at least what I see as plausible, in that some of the rebels are able to escape the events of the show and go on to do some other role in future Star Wars movie or comic book or whatever. I think this is the theory that people hope for the most because it's very friendly to the conspiracy builders, the guys out there that like to hypothesize that Ezra is somehow Supreme Leader Snoke, which seems completely ridiculous to me, and that before The Force Awakens came out, Ezra was actually going to be Kylo Ren. Another ridiculous theory that I never really bought into. But to be honest, I don't think that it's going to be the case with the majority of the Rebels characters, and I don't want it to be. I don't want to see Ezra grow up to play a role in future Star Wars movies. I don't want Kanan to play a role in a future Star Wars movie. I want the storylines of the Rebels characters to end with Star Wars Rebels. For one, keeping Rebels characters alive so that they can somehow appear in future roles shrinks the Star Wars universe greatly and strangles the ability for fresh characters to appear in Star Wars. We already have the Skywalkers and the Solos, whose family lineage makes up a large percentage of the character trees in Star Wars. I don't want Rebels characters shrinking it anymore. Also, this is going to sound like I'm hating on Star Wars Rebels, but it's a valid point that Rebels isn't popular enough to bring characters back and have them appear in future Star Wars movies in the way that dedicated Star Wars fans picture in their mind. These theories about who Ezra will become and how Kanan will play into the future Star Wars only seem eye-opening to us as Star Wars fans because we're very familiar with the Star Wars Rebels and the rest of the expanded universe. The general population doesn't know what Star Wars Rebels is and wouldn't have the earth-shattering revelation that perhaps you or I would if Ezra or Kanan was somehow appeared in a future Star Wars movie. And I know that's a negative-sounding way to think about it, but it's true. Rebels has no appeal to the mass general audience of Star Wars. The casual Star Wars fan base that goes to see the movie in theaters is well aware of the Star Wars universe, but does not take the time to dabble into the anthologies and extended universe works like uber Star Wars fans do. So for that reason, I don't think Disney is going to bring any of the Rebels characters out of the show and have them play in another Star Wars movie. If I had to guess, I would say that over the next 2 or 3 seasons, however many Rebels has left in them, we're going to see the Rebels slowly dwindle in numbers, ending with Kanan or Ezra making some sacrifice that inspires a greater Rebel cause, but I don't see, nor do I want to see anyone survive and be the answer to questions in future Star Wars movies. So let me know what you guys think. Am I being too harsh on Rebels, or do you think I'm onto something? And how would you think Star Wars Rebels is going to end? Because it has to end at some point. It can't go on forever. This has been Galactic News Center. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching, and as always, join me, and together we'll rule the galaxy.